I'm Helena and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make these 3 crop tops. Well, one of them's not really a crop top, but hi again. So my little sister has been recently sewing a few things and learning to sew a little bit, and she's been wanting to make some simple crop tops. She's been seeing a few of them online, so I just picked one of them and I'm going to show you guys how to make them in 3 different ways by using the same pattern that I'm about to show you how to make. I'm aiming this video at very beginner people who have not sewn very much at all. I'm sure a lot of you watching, or anyone who follows my channel, the demographics are a little bit not so young, but perhaps YouTube will show this to a few other people. Come on, YouTube. Before I show you how to do this, if you want to watch more videos about sewing, about DIY, these style of videos, then subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like this style of video. Give a thumbs down if you were like, I hate this, what are you doing with your life? But actually no, don't do that. Okay, give it a thumbs down, but like, don't make a mean comment, because like, my ego is very fragile. Okay, so first we're going to talk about how to make this pattern. This is probably the hardest part of the whole project. I hate pattern making. It is not something that I like or enjoy, but if you want to make something from scratch completely, it's kind of a necessary evil. I've got my notes down here, give me a second. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to measure across how long you want it to be. Do you want it up here and you only want it a little short one? Or do you want it down here and you want it to be, you know, about here? I did about 9 inches for me. And then you're going to measure down. You could do it to your waist, or you could do it to just under your bust. For the one I made, the first one is just under my bust. And then you want to measure across. And you're going to want to measure from the bottom of you how long you want it. I did about 41 centimeters. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to make it in a half. So you're going to draw a line down for the length, which I did again, 22 centimeters. You're going to measure across half of what you measured up here. So mine was 4.5 inches then. And then you're going to measure the bottom portion, which I did about 21, 22 centimeters, I believe. And then you're going to connect them, all those points, with a curve for the armhole. If you have one of these, it helps. You don't need it. You can wing it, but you can always adjust it later to get the perfect fit. Don't be discouraged if the first time you make something it doesn't come out exactly right, because we've all made many fails many a times. Then you're gonna want to find your bust point. So essentially where your nips are, that's your point. So you're going to measure down. Mine was about 8 centimeters or so from the top where I was going to put it. Also, you're going to want to add a line on the shorter side of the pattern for where you're going to put the dart. So I did about 3 centimeters down from the side edge, and then you're going to connect that line to the line of the bust point. Then you're going to make a line directly through the bust point all the way down, and you're going to cut. And this is probably going to give you anxiety right now, but this is what you're going to do, okay? Cut down those points and open them up, and you're going to spread enough so that you can make a dart. Mine was about 4 or 5 centimeters wide. Essentially this is just creating room for your bust. The actual pattern is the same size for the same measurements you've used. You're just putting a dart in so that it can fit your boob, because we are not flat, we are actually curved. So this is going to make the armhole curve move to a different spot, and it's going to make the bottom hem look slightly curved. Again, we're a curved people, so our people are curved, it's going to be a little curvy. Just a slight bit. So tape that all down on a piece of paper and then trace around it. Don't forget to add seam allowance, very important. I did about 1.5. Most sewing machines, domestic sewing machines use a 1.5. It's very common. It's the main big line on most domestic sewing machines. So to make sure the dart is going to sit nicely when you sew it up and it's not going to have a bunch of chunk out, just fold it in so that you can, so fold it in down like as if you're going to sew it, and then chop the side so that it matches. And then you get sort of like a triangle-y shape or half diamond shape on the outside. So then what I like to do when I do something like this is I sort of put it up against myself, pretend it's pinned up. Oh, sorry there. Then I can sort of see, oh, is this completely off? Have I completely missed the ball point? And no, that was all right. I did okay. So if you want to make sure, if you want to perfect this, I guess, if you want to be particular, which you probably don't because you're probably like my sister and you just want to make it really easy and quick and like whatever. But you could make it in a calico fabric and then you just sew up the darts to see how it fits and put it against yourself and see, do you like the shape of the armhole? Do you like how high the neck is? If you don't, adjust them and then adjust your pattern. How are we going to do the first one? So the first crop top is just very simple crop top. So yeah, you're going to want to cut your bodice on the fold. You're going to want to cut out the loops for the back ties. I did them about 6 centimeters, and I don't 3 or 4 centimeters wide. Depends what you use for a seam allowance. You've got to remember that, seam allowance. Of the straps, mine ended up being about, I feel like it was about 145 centimeters long, so they're quite long. You might have to join some pieces of fabrics together to create that length, but I had quite a long piece of fabric. So with the strap, you can fold it in half and sew up along the edge and turn it through, but that is completely painful and you'll probably be crying the whole time. So instead what I did is I folded it in half to make a crease, and then I folded the 2 raw edges towards the inside, towards that crease, and then I folded it in half again, and then I stitched all the way down on the edge. So next part's super simple. What you've got to do is you've got to get the loops, the straps, and the 2 pieces that you have already made with the darts already done, etc. And then you're going to place the bodice right sides together, and inside the bodice, sandwiching between them, on the short sides, you're going to put the little loops, and they will be in half, so that when you turn the whole thing through, you will be able to slide the straps through the loops. You're also going to attach the straps to the inside of the bodice as well, like you did those loops, If you are finding it a bit hard, you can tack them down to one part of the bodice first, but I just pin them in place and it works fine. So then, once you've got those in, you've got to shove them inside so you don't accidentally sew the middle of the strap onto some random bit, so keep them away from the edges, and then sew all the way around all the edges. Also, you could do it in the way that you leave the bottom hem open and then you edge stitch that instead once you've turned it through. Before you turn it through, you're going to remember to clip into the curves on the armholes so that it sits more flatly. You may need to trim it a little bit and it might sit a bit more flatly. You're going to want to iron it as well. So essentially, that means you're done with that crop top. Another option for this crop top, which would be quite cool, which I've seen, it's super simple. It's to make this thing exactly the same, except for you put a bit of stitching, or you put a bit of elastic in the middle bust area, make it a little bit shorter than you want it to be, and you pin it at the top, you stretch it, and then you zigzag stitch it on. And that's exactly the exact same thing. But that is not crop top number 2, it's just another option for this crop top. The crop top number 2, which is this one, which doesn't look great here. So the crop top number 2 is essentially the same as the top number 1. So it's backless, which some people are into, not everyone. So you're essentially going to follow all the steps from the crop top number 1, except for stitching the bottom. Instead of stitching the bottom, you're going to leave that open and you're going to press it up about 1.5 if that's the seam allowance you've left. And then once you move from that, so what you want to do is you're going to want to cut a long strip of fabric. Depends how long you personally want it. You could do it about 10 centimeters or so, that's about what I did. Remember, you've got to hem the bottom, so don't forget that. So I just measured the bottom of my crop top to see how long that was, and I doubled the amount of fabric. So if it was 20 centimeters, I made it 40 centimeters. So whatever the bottom of the crop top is for you, just double it. You could make it even triple if you really, really want a really thick gathery thing, which, I mean, maybe I could do that. I could have done more gather. I could have done with more gathers, but it's a trial and error process. Now, before you've gathered it, because it's going to be annoying to hem it after you've gathered it, hem the bottom long portion and then the 2 short sides up, whatever seam allowance you left. So to gather it, you're going to sew 2 longs, so the longest stitch on your machine, mine's about 4.5 mil, and you're going to stitch all the way along the top line twice. You could do it 3 times. You could do it once, but then you'd risk the potentialness of it breaking while you try to pull and gather it. So what you want to do is you're going to place the crop top that you have in front of you, and then you're going to place the gathered ruffle, and then you're going to gather it and push it until it is roughly the same size as the bottom long portion. Then you're going to open up the crop top, the bottom hem that you haven't hemmed yet, and you're going to insert it inside. You can move the gathers around, push them a little bit, bundle around with it to see how you like it. You might want to move and sort of spread them more evenly. It's a little bit harder. The first one I did didn't come out perfect, but it's not too bad. But I can always improve, as we all can. So what you want to do is pin that in place and make sure that both sides, like I said earlier, are folded upwards of the bottom hem so that all the raw edges are on the inside. So pin that all the way across and spread the gathers evenly. After you do that, you're going to want to edge stitch. So what that means is you're just going to stitch really close to the edge of the bottom hem. So that will stitch everything in place, essentially, and it will keep it there. Now, that is the second crop top. You could even add a back panel of shirring to the back, so if you didn't like the way the top, you didn't like the backless effect, you could just cut a square. So So this is the third one, which technically isn't a crop top, but it is from the original crop top pattern. So what I did is I lengthened the original pattern, but I would recommend adding a more diagonal space because it might get, as your body goes down, more hips come out, etc. So like I mentioned earlier, you could add a back panel of shearing, which is what I did. But how you're going to do this is you're going to measure the back, which I did about 35 centimeters, or how much you want to be in the back. So again, mine was 35 centimeters. I probably would increase it for my portions. I can leave my measurements in the description if you sort of want understanding of what I am in comparison to you and how much these measurements may relate to you. I don't have a very big bust. I don't have a very big waist, but my hips do like to go out. So yeah, you're going to want to cut out that square. So now we're going to make it very similar to the first one. You're going to sew the side seams up, which is different from the first because you don't have side seams, but you're going to sew the side seams up and you're going to do it twice for the top and the back. And then you're going to put one of the sewn together bodices on top of the other bodice, and this is going to be right sides together, so the right sides are touching. What Helena forgot to mention is that you're actually supposed to sew some straps up before you do this part, because you've still got to insert the straps on the inside, remember? And then you're going to sew all along the edge like you did the first crop top, and all along the bottom and along the edge. But before you do that, you're going to have to add the straps like the other one. I decided to make, on this version, I made the straps wider. I think I did they're about 2 or 3 centimeters wide, so I had to make them about 6 centimeters wide, I believe, and I did a 1 centimeter seam allowance. You could do the exact same method as I showed before, but because this is a wider strap, it's easier to turn through. So I just pulled it through with a little pulley, or you can use a safety pin, whatever suits you really. I like to iron those down so they're nice and flat and everything is smooth. Then you're going to pin those in place, sew it all around the top edge. Then for doing the bottom, which is a little bit more tricky and it's a bit annoying, but I decided that I was going to stitch it all together. So I pulled the fabric, I folded the fabric upwards like the second crop top, but I pinched that and then pulled it through so that I could stitch all along the edge and then leave a gap so that I could turn the item through. This bit it's a little bit finicky. You could just fold it up and stitch along the edge. That's perfectly fine as well. So, and then what you're going to want to do is you've basically got a top that's a bit big for you. Theoretically, you could just wear it like that and you'd have a loose top, but you know, that's not my vibe. So I decided I was going to do a back panel of shearing. So in the back square panel, what you do is you look up a tutorial on how to shear, because I'm by no means an expert in that, and this is one of the first times I'd sheared I don't know how to say that, sheared fabric, which is really weird because I've had a few years sewing and it's just never come up. It's kind of weird, but it's actually super simple. So you've just got to, if you don't want to look up a tutorial and you just like can't be bothered, I'll give you the lowdown real quick. So what you want to do is you want to get some elastic thread from, I don't know, wherever you can find it, wherever you can find it. And what you want to do is you're going to roll it onto your bobbin, and you don't want to stretch it, you just want to roll it. You can't use the bobbin winder because apparently it makes it stretched and it's like too tight or something, so you can't do that, which is annoying, but you can't, okay, just it's not going to work for you, just forget on that. And then you're going to put that, you know, in the bobbin, obviously, and then you're going to get normal thread for the top, and you're going to put it at the longest stitch. Mine was about 4.5. You could probably do 4 as well. I probably could have done a little less. And you're going to just sew lines back and forth, and you're just going to shear for like 100 years, a million years. Sorry, I'm joking. You don't have to do it for 100 years, like maybe only like 10 million hours. It's fine. Okay? So what you're going to do is go back and forth. I just did one stitch by following the top line of the square, and then I just followed that from the bottom. This is a bit of a trek. Just use the presser foot to line it up. You're just going to shear and sheer and sheer and sheer and sheer and sheer and sheer and sheer. Okay, cool. And then you've done that, right? Okay, you've done that, and then you're left with this really stretchy fabric. If it's not quite as stretchy as you'd like, or it's not quite as gathered as you'd like, bring it to the iron and whack that baby with some heat. Hopefully that helps. It kind of helped for me. Personally, I think that I mistakenly made my square a little bit too small. My top kind of turns out looking a bit corset-y. It's very tight, which like isn't the worst thing ever. It's kind of funky, but next time I make this, I will be increasing that length. So I did make it 35 centimeters. So I'd probably make it maybe even like 40 or 50 centimeters, but this still went on me, and it's still it is quite stretchy. Oh, you're still shearing, are you? Sorry. I'll leave you to it. Hopefully that made sense. This is one of the first times I've made a how-to video. Maybe only my sister will be watching this. Actually, not even sure she will, but hopefully you liked this video. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you come across this video and you are a beginner sewer and you try this, let me know. If you have seen a pattern that you would like to, or a top that you'd like to make that's relatively simple but you can't quite figure out how to do it, let me know. Or if you just have some suggestions of some tops or even bottoms, then let me know. In the future I do plan, and I don't know if this video will go successfully, because you know how YouTube is like, there's so many different crop top videos out there on the internet, but you never know. Sometimes I like certain videos more than others, even if they are the exact same top, because one person explains it in a way that I personally understand better and the other person might work for somebody else. So maybe perhaps you're more like me, maybe you're not, maybe this doesn't make any sense to you and I've completely messed it up. But do subscribe, as I am going to be making some more videos in the future. I have been mapping out a schedule of videos because I have no job. That stings more when I hear myself say it. Ugh. So for the meantime, while I have no job, I have a lot more time to make videos, and so I'm really trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber and 4,000 watch hours. It's probably going to take a long time and I probably won't get there, but please do join the Helena So, that sounds so weird. Do feel free to join the club. So I do have some more videos coming up in the future, at least I have planned. I do have planned a matching top and pants set. I'm thinking of a knit bodycon long dress, swimwear. I have sewn swimwear before. It's surprisingly a lot easier than you think, so don't be intimidated by it. I also have seen some crop tops with like a lace-up side detail, which my sister seemed to think was cool. I'm 26 now, I don't know what's cool, I don't know, I'm not 18 like her, I'm not hip. I love saying that at 26. A lot of people are going to be laughing at that. But seriously, I'm only 26 and I'm not with it, with these trends. I don't get it. I don't get you people. Explain to me. I was also thinking of just a simple jumpsuit or a really simple dress. I have some pictures in mind. So if any of these interest and you want to see them in the future, do subscribe and give this thumbs up to this video so I know. And hopefully I'll see you next time.